blessed to be here, obviously to represent Penn State University, also the Big Ten. Honored to compete against Marcus and his Notre Dame football team. Got a ton of respect for Marcus, have followed his career for a long time. We have friends and coaches in common. Jared Parker was on both of our staffs. He's now the head coach at Troy and doing a great job, and him and Marcus are very, very good friends. But just excited to be here. It's been a crazy college football season, not only for Penn State, but really across the board. And, we couldn't be more excited to be here and, playing in the Orange Bowl, such a historic game. Penn State and Notre Dame got great history together as well, two storied programs. So just really honored to be here and represent Penn State in the Big Ten. So thank you very much.
I want to thank the Orange Bowl committee for the welcome yesterday. This is my first opportunity to be a part of this game, and as I said last night, your reputation precedes itself. We appreciate the welcome to South Florida for our families and all those that traveled, and so we know the work that's put in to put on one of these games, and we are very grateful for it. Looking forward to a great opportunity tomorrow night versus a extremely good football team. As Coach Franklin said, I have a lot of respect for him and the job he's done in college football, and this football team is a very good one that we have to continue to prepare for. We've got to use these next 24 hours to finish our preparation in anticipation of this great opportunity that lies ahead. So we'll do that, but again, we'll understand that we'll do that with being grateful for this opportunity we have ahead of us. Yeah, I'll start with Jadarian. He is a young man that has put a lot of work into the point that he's gotten to right now. He constantly gets better. Jack, you've heard me talk many times about you have to earn that trust in practice from your teammates and your coaches way before the media and the world sees you. And Jadarian's a guy that continues to do that, and he takes advantage of his opportunities. And, he's getting more and more opportunities. Jeremiyah has a good week of practice. We have to be smart in terms of how much, we're asking him to do in practice. We got to get him ready for the game, but he's confident. And, nobody, I think, feels 100% right now. We're in week, 15, or game 15. And so 16 maybe for you, and nobody feels 100%, but J Love will be good to go. Yeah, we view it. I view it as a pro, and we'll continue to look at it that way unless something changes. But we get to play coast to coast. You play multiple different teams from multiple different conferences. You started out the season in College Station. You ended the season in LA. And we're in New York twice. And so we get to really view our program as a global in terms of, a national program in terms of how we play and the audience we play in front of. Now, it's not much different than the Big Ten now with UCLA and USC and some of the West Coast teams being in it. But again, it's just we view being independent as a positive thing, right? And we sell it to our recruits and our players as a positive thing. And we know we can't play in a championship game, and we can't have a first-round bye. But we continue to use not playing Week 13 as our bye, and that's the way we view it. And so in terms of the finances and the TV deals, I'm sure that Pete Bavacqua can go into further details about that, but obviously that's another positive that we view being independent provides us.
Yeah, I just think at the end of the day, we'd like to get as many qualified and experienced guys on your staff as possible. We've been fortunate to be able to go out and get, former head coaches that are able to come in, obviously use those experiences, those leadership experiences, those organizational experiences that they've had, and then also get back to doing what we love. I mean, I love being the head football coach at Penn State, but there's times where I would love to be back running an offense. And I think, today's college football, if you're not careful, can pull you further and further away from why you got into the profession in the first place. So being able to have guys on your staff that got tremendous experience. My special teams coordinator's been a head coach. My defensive coordinator's been a head coach. My offensive coordinator will be a head coach. And I got a ton of assistants like that as well. So just the more guys you can have on your staff that have tremendous experience, I think sometimes when you go back to being an assistant after being a head coach, it makes you a better assistant. I think it makes you a better coordinator. And if you know Tom's just been awesome. There's not a better guy in the profession. His humility is impressive. His faith is impressive. But he's been awesome. He's jumped right back into this thing and is really doing a great job. And I think his family is enjoying it. I think Tom is enjoying it, and we're enjoying having him. So we feel blessed to have Tom Allen and his family, and really the rest of my staff too.
Yeah, for me, when I hired Al Golden 3 years ago, it was for two reasons. One, I believed he had a great defensive mind and could do great things with our defense. But two, at that point, we did not have a former head coach on our staff. And I thought it was important to get somebody that had experience where I had none on our staff. And the growth we've made in 3 years has been tremendous, right? The growth of our defense, and our defense is doing really great things right now, and Coach Golden gets all the credit in that staff and the players. But, there's times I'll ask him things about his experiences, and at some point you got to make a decision of what you believe is best. But it's good to have some of those guys that have experience in areas that you don't. I never had experience in a playoff. So I spent some time talking to Coach Golden, who had in the NFL, Dylan McCullough, our running backs coach, who had in the NFL, and some of our other coaches that had experience with dealing with a playoff in terms of the mentality, in terms of how we practice and some different things. And so, I believe in that. I believe in trying to gain wisdom from other people that have experience, and that was a huge part in the decision-making of hiring Al Golden.
First of all, I just think you're going to have to be open-minded, you're going to have to be creative, you're going to have to be flexible. And we have tried to do that. I think the sports scientist that everybody is using now, we are fortunate to have a young man by the name of Andrew Nelson. Dr. Andrew Nelson went on and got his doctorate. Nelly played for me at Penn State, went on and got his doctorate in sports science, and has come back, has done a phenomenal job. And he does a really good job of tying it all together. The coaching, our trainers and doctors, as well as the strength coaches, and making sure that the complete plan makes sense. And what we're doing in the weight room complements what we're doing on the field, and the same thing with the trainers and the doctors. And I think that's been really valuable. Subtle changes that you can make to your practices or to your lifting schedule that can keep the guys as fresh and healthy as possible. I think that's a really important piece in all of this. I think another thing that I would say is how important depth and development in your program is. You got to be willing to play guys, and that's been something that we've done all the way back since my time at Vanderbilt, trying to create depth by playing guys, and some assistants on your staff are better than others. You talk about it, and some guys won't rotate them in the way you want, and you got to have tougher conversations. But I will also say this, I think it's something that we're going to have to look at in terms of what's best for college football, what's best for the student-athlete experience, what's best in a university setting, because I don't know if this is really what it was designed to be. It's turned into that. And I know a lot of times when coaches talk like this, people roll their eyes, but I think when every decision that we make is based on finances, then we're not making great decisions that's in the student athlete and in the game of football's best interest. I think there's been conversations about, obviously you talk about just the differences between our two programs and conferences. I think it should be consistent across college football. I think, again, this is no knock at Coach or Notre Dame, but I think everybody should be in a conference. I think everybody should play a conference championship game, or no one should play a conference championship game. I think everybody should play the same number of conference games. I was a head coach in the SEC. I've been a head coach in the Big Ten. I was in the SEC when the whole conversation was whether to go to 8 or 9 conference games. All the coaches voted against going to 9 games. The commissioner agreed and kept it at 8. I think it was one of the better decisions as SEC made. The Big Ten went to 9 games. I was not a math major at East Stroudsburg, but just the numbers are going to make things more challenging if you're playing one more conference game. So I just think things need to be consistent across college football. I think we need to look at the calendar. Should we open up a week earlier in the season to take some of the pressures off the end of the season? I think there's just a ton of things that need to be discussed and looked at. And I think we need to do it with people that do not feel the pressure from their university or their conference. I was on a call the other day with Nick Saban, and he wasn't real happy about me promoting him for the commissioner of college football. But I think we need that. I think we need somebody that is looking at it from a big picture perspective, and whether that is Nick Saban or whether that is Chris Peterson or whether that is Dave Clawson, who I think is a really, really smart football guy. I think having somebody in that position would be valuable for our sport and for our student athletes.
How we got ready for this season, how we're adapting is you have a plan, you have a team, you have a sports performance team that you listen to and you talk through some different scenarios, and you got to be adaptable. You got to be willing to adapt based off the unpredictable things that can happen, and that's what we've been able to do. And I feel like our guys will be physically ready to roll.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, there's a couple questions about the health of the Notre Dame team. I was going to hope you guys would ask more questions so we could figure some of that stuff out. We anticipate Abdul playing. He's doing everything he possibly can to play. His approach has been awesome. He's lived in the training room, but it'll be a game time decision, and we'll see. But just like the guys that we're looking at on the Notre Dame roster and concerned about their impact on the game, Abdul's one of those guys as well. So I get the question, and I understand where it's coming from, but Abdul's approached this the right way. He wants to play. He's put a ton of cryptic messages out on social media, which you guys have probably seen those. I learn as much from those as I do from our trainers. But we are hopeful and expecting Abdul to play, and we'll see. We'll see how that plays out.
I think for us, it's what we do well and what we have to do to have success with this current team. And, it's really, as you look at the course of our season, it's been a big indication of the outcome of the game, our ability to run the football and our ability to stop the run. It's a mentality, it's a mindset. It's just from my defensive coaching background. When you can't stop an offense from running the ball, it can be demoralizing. And that's why we say we have to do it now. We're probably ranked higher in the pass efficiency part of defensive statistics, but still the mentality of stopping the run is so important. And as you get later in the season and you play better teams, it's going to be important, right? The same as the turnover margin and those type of things. But as you look at Penn State, if you are not able to do a good job at stopping the run and trying to run the ball, you're not going to have success, and you're not going to get the outcome you want. And so that will be important as we get into tomorrow too.